Okay, today we're going to be talking about Nymrissa Wavecaller. She's the one boss raid for Midnight Season 2, so similar to Chimeris or Rotmeyer from last season. And let's just get right into it. So the fight is going to start immediately with a mechanic called Frost Barrage. Now, this mechanic targets 3 players and causes puddles to spawn under their feet. So you see right here, he's targeted with a little arrow. If you're the actual person targeted, your character is going to grow big, similar to like the pool drops on Illyria, or honestly, a lot of mechanics that happened last season where if you were targeted, your character kind of like grows a little bit bigger, your camera zooms out. You obviously still get the message that says you are targeted by Frost Barrage. So it should be pretty obvious when you get targeted. Basically, you're going to drop these puddles, and you kind of want to get them clumped up. You want to get them as close together as possible. And the reason for that is they spawn these bubbles. And these bubbles last for 16 seconds. If they aren't popped in those 16 seconds, they will explode and wipe the raid. When they are popped, they drop these ice puddles on the ground. And yeah, so I basically as fast as possible, you want to pop these, but not too fast because they do large raid damage, and you don't want to kill everyone, right? So also, when you pop them, they put a dot on you. So if you're like a DPS or a healer, you're really only looking to do 1 or 2, and everyone's kind of working together. If you're a tank, you can soak a lot more. And later in the fight, we're going to talk about how immunities, mobile immunities like turtle, cloak, things like that, bubble, are really good for this because of some bad overlaps that happen. At least they happened on PTR. So yeah, you're really just looking to pop these. You can see bear druids going out, popping, and they drop these puddles on the ground. Now, the way you clear these puddles is with the tank mechanic, which is called Water Jet. It's just a line AoE. You can see it here. It targets the tank. As soon as the cast finishes, it starts channeling on the tank, and it's basically just like a vacuum cleaner. So you can see he's just moving around, moving this frontal. So if you're a DPS or a healer, you do not want to be in this like frontal arc. You don't want to be between the boss and any puddles because the tank is going to be looking to clear those, and he's not going to be looking at you. So you really want to always be behind the boss here and not in the tank's way while he's doing this jet mechanic. It does reach the other side of the puddles too, so you don't want to be like over here behind the puddle. You only want to be in this arc behind the boss. That's the safe spot. So that mechanic happens on a 30-second cycle. It happens on pull. The tank mechanic happens after 15 seconds, and then the next Frost Barrage is going to happen 30 seconds after the first one. So every 30 seconds, you're getting a Frost Barrage for the entire fight. And then in between, you're getting the Water Jets to clear. And it's going to cause some weird overlaps, and we'll talk about that. So the main mechanic that the rest of the raid is worried about on this fight is the ad waves. So you see these like little bubble puddles outside of the arena. This is indicative of where some ads are going to spawn really quickly here. So the boss is going to spawn this alluring bubble in the middle of the room, and these Murloc ads are going to spawn out of those puddles and fixate on this bubble in the middle of the room. Now, if they ever touch this bubble, they enrage and become berserkers and pulse AoE until you kill them. On PTR, this pulse wasn't like super deadly, so there were some groups that were opting to just have some of the ads go into the middle so they don't have to worry about them, and then just cleaving them down on top of the boss once they enrage. Obviously, this can change. It's likely to change. I don't think Blizzard is intending for us to just ignore this mechanic, but you never know. So it's something to keep in mind. So you can see here on my raid plan, this initial ad wave, there's going to be 3 groups of ads that spawn. There's going to be a big group of 5 and then 2 single spawns. Now, on pull, you're going to know where this group of 5 is. You could see here at the start, as soon as they pulled the boss, they knew that the 5 spawn was right here on star. So you're pulling the boss to the 5 spawn as soon as you notice it, and this is where you want to place your first Frost Barrages. And this is where you want to be for when those ads spawn. As soon as the ads spawn, you're going to notice that there's 2 different types. Now, there is the like the small wave runner ads, the shore runners. These don't really matter. They're just fodder that you're AoEing down, but obviously you don't want them to get to the middle either. The important ad is this Frost Scale, which is this big Murloc. He causes all of the small ads around him to take 99% reduced damage. Now, we still want to be on top of him. We still want to be DPSing him down, but instead of AoEing and putting all your damage as like a big AoE burst into this pack of mobs, you're single targeting this guy down because your AoE doesn't matter. They're taking no damage. So you're AoEing down, you're single targeting down this guy until he dies, and then you're finishing off the rest of the pack. Now, what are we doing about these single spawns? So this is entirely comp dependent. Obviously, you're going to have 25 people in there, so you're going to have access to a lot of different forms of CC. You might have a lot of DKs in the raid that can grip. It's really just dependent on your group, right? So what Consequence was doing is they were looking to frost trap because they had 3 hunters. They were looking to trap the single spawns. Sometimes they were gripping in if they got close. But really, they were trapping, and then after they dealt with this initial pack of mobs, they were gripping over and dealing with the others. You could, if you have a lot of DKs, grip them over sooner, get them stacked up, if that's easier. Obviously, you have a lot of other forms of CC in the game. You have Druid Root, you have Evoker, Landslide, you have a lot of options, right? So you have Shaman Totems. There's a lot of things you can do. It should really just dependent on your comp. So after every single ad set is dealt with, she's going to spawn these Tide Piercer's Rush waves around the room. Now, these waves are also pre-indicated around the room before they even spawn with giant puddles. And you can see that right here. So it's these big blue puddles. These are dangerous lanes. So you really want to think about dividing the arena into 8 different sections, right? And 7 of these are going to spawn. So there's going to be one section, one pizza slice of the room that doesn't have one of these big blue indicators. You're looking for this as soon as these indicators go out so you know where the safe spot is. The way these waves work is they converge onto the ball into the middle of the room. So you want to be in the safe pizza slice as soon as you can. They got lucky here, and their safe pizza slice was where they've been playing the whole time, right? So they don't really have to do a big movement or anything. But there's a chance that it just spawns on the other side of the room, and you got to go across to be safe. You can go through the bubble. The bubble isn't like dangerous to you. It's really just what the ads are fixating on. So you're just trying to get to that safe spot as fast as possible. You see here the waves have spawned in, and they're going to converge pretty much immediately onto this bubble in the middle of the room. Now, as soon as they touch this bubble, as soon as they converge, they're going to pop it, and it's going to hit you with a big knockback. So you want to be ready to handle this knockback and not get like thrown way off into the water here, because if you're in this water for too long, you just die, right? So you want to be using your utility to counteract the knockback or playing really close to the middle. If you're a class that doesn't have a way to counteract knockbacks, you could get evoker grips. Like if you're a priest, you could have an evoker rescue you down to cancel the knockback. It just is dependent on your comp, but it's something to think about, right? So from there, the fight repeats. We have the frost barrage is going out, and we have 3 different sets of ads, and after the 3rd set of ads, the boss enrages, and it's about 6 minutes into the fight. An important thing to know about these waves is they get harder with each set, right? So this first wave of ads is the 5 spawn and then 2 singles. The second wave is the 5 spawn, a 3 spawn, and a 1 spawn. So you have to think about, okay, how am I dealing with this 3 spawn? I don't have 4 DKs to do all the grips. Maybe you DK grip the solo and you use like a Druid Mass Entangle or an Evoker Landslide on the 3 stack. And then once you finish dealing with this 5 stack, you move the boss over. That's probably going to be the most common strategy, but it's something you want to think about. The third wave is 4 spawns of ads, the 5 stack, 2 3 stacks, and a solo. So again, you're thinking, okay, solo is probably a trap. On testing from the videos I was watching, it was always spawning opposite of the 5 stack on this 3rd set. So this is one that you're not really going to be able to life grip or your death grip unless you do some like weird shenanigans where you're gripping it here and then gripping it there with 2 different DKs. But honestly, you're probably just looking to single trap this one, especially on this set. And then on these 3s, you're looking for another entangle, another landslide. So you're really going to be one, looking at what CCs you have, and then two, looking at the timings so that you know that everything is going to be available when you need it. So like, I don't really know the timings off the top of my head between wave 2 and wave 3, but if you landslide this wave 2, you want to make sure it's going to be up for this wave 3. If it's not, you need other classes to deal with it, or to help deal with it. For us, we're probably going to go to this 5 stack, get the CCs out, and then clockwise move around the room, cleaning up the rest, right? So that is how we're going to deal with the ads. Now, what I was talking about earlier with this frost barrage and potentially having some bad overlaps, let me show you one bad overlap that is probably going to happen on live. So we're going to get these ball spawns, and then immediately after we're getting these waves, and we're looking to find the safe spot. So what Consequence elected to do is to have mobile immunities ready for this, and the rest of the raid go to the safe spot while some hunters were turtling here. You see both hunters are turtling and just walking through the wave and soaking the orbs at the same time. So this is one of the bad overlaps where either you have to do it very quickly as soon as they spawn, or you use immunities to deal with it while everyone is going to the safe spot for the wave mechanic. So yeah, again, think about your comp, think about how you're handling the waves, how you're handling the ad spawns, make a plan, and it should be a pretty simple boss to get down very quickly.